To the ready brides that are in position to becoming kings' wives, you did not miss God. You didn't miss him, darling. I know what you're thinking. Why am I still waiting? What am I still waiting on? Why haven't I been translated from my spiritual position as bride to my physical position as wife, okay? As helpmeet, as helper, as rib. Honey, you are all these things and more spiritually, first and foremost and forever. And it is just a matter of time, very soon, okay, very short amount of time, that God is about to shift you into the physical occupation, the material manifestation of your position as a king's wife, as a queen paired with a king. So this message is for the queens in waiting, the brides in waiting, those that are in preparation, but also those that are in position, and you are just waiting on a distinct cue to be ushered into your palace, to be placed on your throne, for the crown to be placed upon your head, okay? There is a reason why you are still in that position. God has a specific reason, purpose, season, okay, time, moment in time that he has positioned you to be prepared, then to be in position, and then to be called, ushered into the king's palace, into the king's quarters, okay? So I know a lot of you may be wondering, if you haven't already stepped over, crossed over, been ushered into your rightful place, onto your throne, inherited your throne, why am I still here? Why have I not crossed over yet? What am I waiting on, Lord? Okay? I don't have the answers for your specific situation, darling, but I do have prophetic insight and encouragement for those that are ready to take the leap, ready to be ushered in, ready to cross over, and you're really wondering, what now? Or why? Why am I still waiting? Okay, what am I waiting on? Darling, everything is going to happen in God's divine timing. It's okay? So let's break this down. First, right now, Spirit is saying it could be a matter of divine timing, okay? It could be something that you're waiting to just be shifted into. It could be a piece of your purpose puzzle that is still being placed divinely. Okay, it could literally just be a matter of a piece of your purpose puzzle, a piece of your development. Okay, a part of your story that still has to fall into place so that you can seamlessly and smoothly cross over and become, go from bride to wife in the physical. Okay, so when we say bride, we're already brides of Christ. Okay, you know that you've been matched prophetically, and you know that you will be married expeditiously. And God told you about your husband, he told you about a marriage, he told you about preparing for this lifestyle, for a supernatural love story. You're prepared, you're aware, and you're in position. This is for those women, okay, that have still not received the ring. You may be in communication or not, I don't know. This could apply to anyone's situation, but this is for the ready brides who are ready to being ushered into king's wives, okay? This is your Ruth 3:18 moment. Come on, Holy Spirit. If you all have been on Netflix, you know that the recent movie of Ruth and Boaz has completely taken the internet by storm. And it's a great film. I would say 10 out of 10, but there are a couple editions of Ruth and Boaz out there, so to each his own, okay? Find the version that you like, but for a modern day retelling, 10 out of 10. So for the ready brides that have probably watched that movie, you're in your Ruth 3:18 moment, honey, where you've gleaned the king has noticed you, he's aware of you, your King Xerxes knows who you are, your Boaz knows who you are. He's identified you. He said, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Okay, he knows it's you. He knows and will further know that it is you. But the actual crossing over, the moment of physically claiming this woman and putting a crown on her head and a ring on her finger has not occurred yet, okay? But Ruth 3:18 is where Boaz said, or Naomi says to Ruth, don't worry, my daughter. He will see to it that it is resolved in a day. He will not rest until this matter has been resolved. He will not rest until this matter has been resolved, okay? So for those that are in that season where you've been identified, you've been prepared, you have had some discussions, you've had some submission, or not some submission, you've had you've had your seasons of submission and surrender and preparation and all that, you could just be in your Ruth 3:18 moment where the matter has just not come to conclusion, where Boaz is still working some things out for your good and for God's glory, okay? Where Boaz is still in a position where he's being called to to put some more pieces of the puzzle together. Okay, it's just a moment of divine timing. It simply is not the day that the matter has concluded. Okay, because the matter will conclude in a day. Come on, Holy Spirit. The moment of your arrival is imminent. You know what's going to happen. You know there are conversations happening. You know there are spiritual conversations happening about your next step, about what's next for you, about where you're going, what you're going to do, who you're going to be with, what you're going to do for the kingdom. And you know that this is really happening. It's unfolding. It's yours. It's touching earth. It's about to kiss the horizon, okay? The space between the sky and the sea, like your miracle is touching earth, okay? But this is your Ruth 3:18 moment. Things are still concluding. Matters are still being put into place so that the matter can conclude in a day. Okay, miracles are always being worked out for you, and you don't see what's happening behind the scenes. My daughter, God is saying things are happening for you behind the scenes. Ruth had nothing to do with the process that came with claiming her as a wife. Okay, Boaz was the one who had to handle all of that. So right now, okay, this could be a second point, Lord. Right now, Boaz is probably still going through the motions, okay, of claiming you as his bride. So the first point as to why you're maybe still in waiting, okay, in preparation, in position, but haven't crossed over yet, is that it's a matter of divine timing, okay, and we know that that is completely up to God. There really is a moment where a moment in time, in our understanding of time, linear time, where things occur, but things are always being put into place in the spiritual realm, okay? So you're always being prepared, you're always being processed to purpose, you're always being made ready for the next, okay, for the next step, for the next occurrence, for the next experience, but the eventual promise is purposed for a moment in time. It will come to pass in a moment in time. So the first point could be divine timing. It's just not the season. It's not the moment. You're in his field. You're gleaning. You're working. You're hustling. You're in your purpose. Okay? You're in the garden. You're resting. You're outside like me. You're resting. It's just not that moment to be pushed into physical manifestation of marriage. The second point, Boaz is still doing some things to claim you as his bride. And that can go on either side, but I'll save that for another point. Let's just focus on Boaz right now. This is a great analogy, Lord, and it always comes down to the woman of faith, does it not? Right now, Boaz is probably still concluding that matter in a day. He's still working things out so that he can come claim you expeditiously, prophetically, swiftly, suddenly. And sometimes for an occurrence like that to happen, for the swift and sudden occurrence, the swift and sudden move of God, there is a process that leads up to that moment that it does happen swiftly and suddenly, okay? I'm trying to think of an analogy where things may be in process for a while, quietly, in the stillness. It looks like everything is still. God is saying from stillness to speed. Okay, you want the speed to hit your life right now, but sometimes there's actually more that happens in the stillness. There's more that occurs in the quiet, behind the scenes action, so that when you burst forth, when you come out from behind the curtain, when you break forth, when you go from stillness to speed, that acceleration is divine because things have been happening behind the scenes, okay? So right now, y'all both are aware of each other, but God has still placed you in a season of stillness because he has Boaz doing other things in other places, so that when he comes into your life with speed, you're ready to go, okay? So God may slow you down for a season to keep Boaz on schedule. God may, put you in a season of acceleration while Boaz is resting. You know what I mean? Like there's it's like a give and take, okay? It's a little give and take. Think about cars on the highway where you have to slow down to let people merge, okay? You're still moving, but you've slowed, reduced your speed so that someone could get ahead of you. You guys are both going the same direction, okay? You all are both going to arrive at your destination, but you have to be slowed down for a season while someone else was moving further ahead, okay? So right now, Boaz is being fast-tracked, okay, to conclude the matter in a day, and you're just chilling, Ruth. Just chill, okay? You're still Ruth. Your inheritance, your blessing, your promise, your marriage is not going anywhere, okay? It's still yours. Don't fret. Don't be resentful or begrudging about the wait, okay? Do not be bitter do not become embittered about how long you've had to wait, okay? There's always a purpose, a divine reason why, the length of time it took for your promise to manifest, that there's a reason why, okay? There's a reason why it had that specific amount of time attached to it, okay? And then there is a moment where your life changes in a day. There is a moment where God says it's time. There is a moment where you're going to wake up and God's going to say, today's the day that you're going to hear from your husband. Today's the day that you are going to go on your first date. Today's the day that you are going to make this, that Boaz is going to seal the deal. He's going to claim his bride. He's going to be, pushed into divine action, okay? There is a day where everything changes. So the third point, okay, that I alluded to earlier is that right now, Ruth, okay, maybe you're still in your gleaning season in a way. So for the wives that are truly at a point, okay, maybe this is more so Queen Esther. Maybe this is, you're still Ruth, but you're also Esther right now, where the sun just wants to do her thing. Right now, you're Esther, where you've done your year-long beautification and purification process, okay? You've gone through your preparation process, and you're simply waiting to be called. You're simply waiting to be called into the king's quarters, into, your one night with the king. You're waiting to be called forth, to be summoned, okay? And that is also just a matter of time on your end, okay? So Xerxes is ready. Boaz is ready. But things are still falling into place to where you now need to be called forth, okay? Where you are now where your presence is now necessary, where your energy is now required, where what you add to your king's life is now being summoned. Where your gifts, your talents, your purpose, your season of preparation, everything that has been incubated on the inside of you is now become necessary, relevant, okay? It's imperative that you break forth, because what you have inside of you is now needed. So it's important to realize that time will not be wasted on both sides. Time will not be wasted. That's why, that the analogy of the cars going at different paces, you're still getting to your destination, but sometimes you're going to go at 30 miles an hour and sometimes you're going to go at 60. You're still going to get there at the exact time that God ordained it. So don't fret. Don't be bitter about the wait. Don't become impatient and start, falling out, crashing out, whatever the, Gen Z and millennials are saying. No crashing out, okay? No crashing out. Don't crash out over the length of time that this promise was always destined to take. You're doing your part. As long as you are doing your part, you can be confident that God is controlling the other moving parts of your purpose, promise, and it will all come to pass in divine timing. Okay, so all three are related. Divine timing, Boaz's ability to conclude the matter in a day, and Ruth/Esther's ability to wait until divine timing. Okay, those work in tandem with each other. Okay, time will not be wasted on either side. You are being processed to meet at a point where your marriage will manifest in the material world. So for the women who are becoming weary, for the women who are becoming, curious about what is taking so long, why am I still waiting? What am I still waiting on? Could be one of those three things. And you'll be able to discern, okay? You'll be able to discern what exactly is going on. If you're in a pasture season, if you're in a season of rest, things could be happening on Boaz's side or King Xerxes' side right now. If you are currently being prepared, meaning that God is still getting you in position to occupy the throne, okay, you'll know that it's, time is not being wasted on your side, that you're still being processed. And if you really do feel like things have reached a point where there's an inner peace and an inner stillness about you, about your spouse, if God reveals that to you, then it could just be a moment of divine timing, okay? It could just be the question of divine timing, that it simply is not the exact moment in time for you to come together. So that maybe leads to the fourth thing, or maybe it's like divine timing part 2, where external, I'll make it a fourth point. I'll make it its own point, okay? But it's related to divine timing. Come on, Holy Spirit. Your external environment, okay? The situation and circumstances of your life have not aligned come on, Holy Spirit, have not aligned in a way to support. That's good. The situation and circumstances of your life have not aligned to support the manifestation of your marriage. Or it could be a miracle, but we are speaking to the brides, okay? We're speaking to the brides. But whatever miracle, marriage-related miracle you're waiting on, the external forces that need to be in a specific form, that need to be in formation to get you from single to married, okay? From single to wifed up, okay? From paired prophetically to married supernaturally. The exact environment that is required for that to occur just hasn't settled into place yet, okay? Time will not be wasted on either side, okay? So whether you are in point number 1, 2, or 3, waiting on timing, still being developed or processed to purpose as a Boaz or a Ruth, as a Xerxes or an Esther, or even as a Rebecca. Oh, we'll save that for another point. Yeah, save that for another point. The fourth point is that the environment is not conducive for your marriage. And that's why I said it's related to divine timing, because God can prepare you internally to become a bride. And it could be a matter of divine timing and shifting your environment, those two working in tandem, that will get you to where you need to be in marriage. The concept of divine timing and external environment in the Ruth and Boaz story was that, one, Ruth had to be found in his field. Ruth had to physically move, so she was not going to meet Boaz where she was, okay? And it was a matter of divine timing that he observed her, noticed her, asked about her, and took her under his wing. And even then, that wasn't the moment that he proposed to her, that he proposed marriage to her, okay? She was cared for a season, gleaned for a season, given special favor for a season before she was wifed, okay? So the environment, the spiritual environment, but also the physical environment, the time, okay, the setting, the season, okay? It was after the fall harvest, I believe. It was the harvest festival of their time that it was when God was like, okay, this is the season I want you to claim your bride. A woman that had been in his field countless times. For Esther and Xerxes, okay, if that's a situation you resonate with in this season, okay, being an Esther, I mean, they're all similar, but they have different prophetic outcomes, I think, these stories. Or different prophetic blueprints. They have different prophetic blueprints. For the Esther, Vashti has to be removed, okay? That's part of the external environment. A prerequisite for you being able to step in as an Esther is that whatever counterfeit existed is gone, okay? There's no competition for your throne, okay, Esther? So if you're prepared, if you've gone through your season of beautification and preparation, and you still haven't been summoned prophetically, okay? We're not speaking exactly in the story, but we're speaking in terms of your life. These are metaphors. It could be that Vashti has not been removed, okay? It could be that there's still a counterfeit, whether that's a person or a counterfeit situation or a counterfeit circumstance, okay? Relationship, situationship, that your spouse may still be attached to energetically, physically, in real life. There could just be a lingering spirit that has not left your husband's, your future spouse's presence, and he's still being purged of that energy, okay? So it could be that you are in preparation, you've done your part, if you're an Esther, but you're really just waiting for Vashti's throne to be cleared out, okay? Make room for the real queen. That's the energy I'm feeling right now. And then with Rebecca and Isaac, don't forget about Rebecca and Isaac and their beautiful prophetic love story. It could just be a matter of physical location, where you're ready to be a wife, you're being prepared along the journey, but right now God is still taking you to your new environment. Maybe you haven't even crossed paths with your husband yet. So you're wondering, Lord, what am I waiting on to get married, to meet my spouse, to be in contact with my spouse? And God is saying, I'm going to get you in the physical vicinity. Holy Spirit, come on. I need you to be in the physical vicinity of your spouse for that, for that meeting to occur, for that introduction to occur, for that divine encounter to occur. Okay, we're not saying our stories are going to mirror these women's lives exactly. They're metaphors. They're spiritual metaphors for how some of your marriages may play out. Some of your prophetic marriages may play out. Okay. So just to give you an idea, okay, there's 3 different blueprints and there's 3 different or many scenarios of how your marriage could play out, but it could give you a glimpse into what you may be waiting on prophetically. And that's the thing about waiting. You're never really just waiting. You're not sitting around, sitting down, doing nothing, twiddling your thumbs. There's always something to be done. So like I said, we just identified 4 possible reasons why. And in each of those scenarios, there's something still playing out. Time is still moving forward. Okay, time is still running its course. Okay, Boaz is still being processed. Xerxes is still being cleared of old energy. Isaac is still being prepared to receive you. Okay, to receive a bride he's never met. That takes time. God is still working on his spirit to be like, hey, a bride is coming for you, but in the meantime, I need you to be with me in this season. In the matter of the women, okay, Ruth, you're still gleaning. Okay, you're still focusing on your purpose and being in your garden season with the Lord. Esther, you're still being prepared, or you're being prepared to be summoned. Okay, or for Rebecca, you're still on your journey. You're still on your physical or spiritual journey toward your spouse. Okay, so there's a reason why you haven't been in contact and communication and close proximity to your spouse, because you're still on the journey toward him. Okay, and then with the matter of your environment, okay, there is an environment, there is a place, there is a physical location where your marriage is meant to occur and thrive. And some of you all are still being physically translated to that environment. For those that aren't moving necessarily, some of you are still waiting for a particular situation to unfold or develop in your natural environment so that your marriage can have the fertile soil it needs to take off. Okay. For some of you all, it does include a move where you still, all the pieces are in place, but you still haven't been sent forth or sent for. You know, your king still hasn't sent for you. Okay, you're still not in the actual location where your marriage is set to occur. Okay, come on, Holy Spirit, with the instant downloads. Can we get a 5th sign, Lord? You know I love round, even numbers. A 5th reason why you could still be in preparation or in some sort of holding. We've gone over all of those things, Lord, the environment, the timing, the preparation on both sides. Okay, well, maybe that's all God has to say about that. I can't think of a 5th thing, and I won't force it if it's not coming. But those could be some of the reasons why. Those could be some of the spiritual implications as to why you are still not on your throne in the material world. Okay, because we know that once you become a bride, honey, that's your crown, that's your throne, that's you. Okay, no one can dethrone you but God, and of course your own selfish, evil ambitions. But nothing will take you off your throne spiritually once God has crowned you as queen, and it's just a matter of time before your physical crown, is placed on your head and you are made a wife. Okay, you go from ready bride to king's wife. I pray this was inspirational and helpful and insightful and revelatory for those women that are waiting to be summoned, waiting to be crowned. Okay, remember, you're not just waiting, you're preparing consciously. Okay, prophetically, spiritually, you're always in some sort of preparation or maybe a season of rest. Always either in preparation or rest, okay, or a season of work and development. And it's just a matter of time before God calls your name and says, you're next. Okay? Pray this was insightful. If this was your first time clicking on this channel, I didn't even do my introduction. This was your first time clicking on this channel, my name is Samara. I am also a divine feminine, a gorgeous queen. I forgot to wear my crown today, but it's on there spiritually. And I help women I facilitate the transition from ready bride to king's wife. So I pray this insight was helpful for you, and I will see you all on the other side of your transition to becoming a wife.